The house had always been more than just wood, brick, and memories. It was my sanctuary, my inheritance, my connection to my grandmother Rosa, the only person who truly understood me. When she passed away 5 years ago, she left me the historic Rodriguez family home, a century-old Spanish colonial nestled in the heart of San Antonio. I remembered her weathered hands guiding mine as we restored intricate tile work, repainted faded walls, and breathed new life into every corner of the property. My sister Sophia had always been different. Where I saw history and love, she saw dollar signs and opportunity. Growing up, she'd constantly criticize my attachment to the house, calling it a financial burden and suggesting we should sell it immediately after grandmother's death. But I knew better. This wasn't just property, it was our family's legacy. I'd invested every spare penny into the restoration. Weekends spent sanding hardwood floors, nights researching historical paint colors, vacations traded for careful renovations. My corporate law salary went directly into preserving every inch of the home's historical integrity. Each tile I replaced, each window I restored felt like a love letter to Grandmother Rosa and our family's history. What I didn't know then was how deeply my family's financial struggles ran. My parents, proud but struggling, had been silently drowning in medical bills and failed business ventures. Sophia, always the pragmatic one, saw an opportunity where I saw only preservation. The power of attorney came during my most vulnerable moment. Last year, when I was battling a high-stress corporate lawsuit and my mother was simultaneously recovering from her second cancer treatment, I signed what I thought was a routine medical document. In reality, it was a carefully crafted legal maneuver that would strip me of everything I held dear. My sister had been planning this for years. She knew every weakness, every moment of familial obligation I carried. While I built my legal career in downtown San Antonio, climbing the corporate ladder with precision and dedication, Sophia was weaving a web of manipulation that would ultimately destroy everything I loved. The house, my grandmother's house, represented more than just property. It was a testament to our family's resilience, to the immigrant journey of my grandparents who arrived with nothing and built something beautiful. Every restored archway, every carefully preserved mosaic tile told a story of survival, of hope, of transformation. I should have seen the signs. The hushed phone conversations between my parents, Sophia's sudden interest in family finances, the way they would exchange knowing glances during family gatherings. But I was blind, consumed by my work, believing in the sanctity of family bonds. Little did I know that a simple family dinner would become the moment everything would change forever. The family dinner was supposed to be ordinary, a monthly gathering my mother insisted on maintaining despite our increasingly fractured relationships. The dining room, once a place of warmth and connection, now felt like a stage for an impending tragedy. Sophia arrived late, her designer heels clicking against the restored hardwood floors I had meticulously refinished myself. Her smile was too bright, her movements too calculated. "I have an announcement," she proclaimed, her voice cutting through the usual dinner chatter. I watched her, sensing something was wrong. My father's eyes darted nervously. My mother's hands trembled slightly as she gripped her wineglass. "I'm moving into the family home," Sophia declared, her eyes locked directly on mine. The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. For a moment, silence consumed the room. I felt the blood drain from my face, a cold realization beginning to crystallize. "What do you mean, moving in?" I asked, my voice a dangerous whisper. My father cleared his throat. "We've had some financial difficulties," he began, but Sophia interrupted. "The house is now ours," she said, her tone clinical and detached. "We've handled everything legally." That's when the details began to unravel. The power of attorney I'd signed during my mother's cancer treatment, a document I believed was purely medical, had been a carefully crafted legal trap. My parents had used my momentary vulnerability to execute a backdated transfer of property rights. I was a corporate lawyer. I understood legal manipulation better than most. And yet, my own family had orchestrated the most personal betrayal imaginable. My professional training kicked in. I began asking precise, calculated questions. Each answer revealed another layer of calculated deceit. They had valued money over family, over my years of emotional and financial investment in preserving our grandmother's legacy. My mother tried to speak, her voice breaking. "We didn't have a choice," she whispered. But I knew better. There were always choices, and they had chosen to destroy the one thing that meant everything to me. The family dinner became an interrogation. I dissected their story with the same precision I used in corporate litigation. Medical bills, failed investments, Sophia's mounting debts, a constellation of reasons that amounted to nothing more than a calculated theft. As the truth emerged, I realized this was more than just a property dispute. This was a complete betrayal of everything our family once represented: trust, legacy, love. My sister smiled, believing she had won. She had no idea what was coming next. The next morning, I transformed my dining room into a war room. Legal pads, digital files, and forensic financial documents spread across my expensive mahogany table. A bitter irony, given I was about to lose everything. My first step was methodical. I pulled every single document related to the property transfer, examining each with the clinical precision of a surgeon. The power of attorney was my primary target. As a corporate lawyer specializing in complex litigation, I knew every subtle legal nuance could be a weapon. I discovered the first crack in their facade within hours. The power of attorney document was dated during my mother's cancer treatment, but the notarization showed inconsistencies. The timestamp, the signature placement. Something was fundamentally wrong. My network became my arsenal. I reached out to professional contacts, forensic accountants, real estate lawyers, private investigators. Each conversation peeled back another layer of my family's deception. My sister's financial history was a minefield of questionable transactions, hidden debts, and strategic manipulations. Sophia worked in commercial real estate, a profession that thrived on legal gray areas. I knew her professional reputation was her most valuable asset. If I couldn't reclaim the house, I could ensure she lost everything else. I began collecting evidence: bank statements revealing unauthorized transfers, email chains showing coordinated efforts to circumvent my legal rights. Each document was a puzzle piece in a larger strategy of total destruction. My parents' vulnerabilities became clear. My father's failed business, a small construction company, had multiple pending lawsuits. My mother's medical treatments had incurred significant debt. They weren't just desperate, they were financially cornered. I mapped out their entire ecosystem: professional networks, financial dependencies, social connections. Every relationship became a potential pressure point. My legal training transformed into a strategic warfare plan. The most devastating weapon would be precision. Not brute force, but calculated surgical strikes that would dismantle their entire world. I would make them understand the true cost of betrayal. I created multiple parallel strategies: legal challenges to the property transfer, potential exposure of financial improprieties, strategic revelations that would destroy professional reputations. My computer became my war machine. Each click, each document saved, was a calculated move in a complex chess game. I wasn't just planning revenge, I was architecting a comprehensive dismantling of their entire existence. By midnight, I had a comprehensive plan. My sister thought she had won by stealing the house. She had no idea I was about to burn her entire world to the ground. The hunter had become the hunted. And I was just getting started. My first move targeted Sophia's professional reputation. In the cutthroat world of commercial real estate, credibility was everything. I began by anonymously triggering an audit of her most recent property developments. A carefully leaked document suggested irregularities in her firm's recent commercial acquisitions. I knew the exact pressure points. Real estate commissions were notoriously sensitive to even a whisper of impropriety. Within weeks, her colleagues started asking questions. Meetings became tense. Whispers followed her through office corridors. My father's struggling construction company became my next target. I identified 3 ongoing contracts with municipal governments. A series of strategically placed anonymous tips to the city's procurement office suggested potential bid rigging and ethical violations. The investigations were subtle but devastating. Each piece of my plan was calculated. I wasn't seeking simple destruction. I wanted a comprehensive dismantling that would make them understand the true depth of betrayal. My mother's medical treatments, I discovered, involved a complex web of insurance claims and potential billing irregularities. A few carefully worded letters to the State Medical Billing Review Board initiated an investigation that would drag on for months. The beauty of my revenge was its precision. I never directly attacked. Instead, I created cascading consequences that would slowly erode everything they had built. Sophia's marriage became collateral damage. Her husband, a mid-level executive at a tech firm, had his own professional vulnerabilities. An anonymous tip about potential conflicts of interest reached his company's ethics committee. The subsequent internal investigation created unbearable professional pressure. I watched from a distance, a chess master moving pieces across an invisible board. Each move was calculated, each consequence carefully orchestrated. Family friends began to distance themselves. Social invitations dried up. The whispers became louder, the suspicions more pronounced. I had transformed their social ecosystem into a minefield of doubt and suspicion. My legal training proved invaluable. Every action was carefully crafted to remain just within the boundaries of legal manipulation. I wasn't breaking laws. I was exploiting them with surgical precision. The property transfer itself became a complex legal battleground. I filed a series of challenges, each more intricate than the last. Temporary injunctions, legal motions, procedural challenges. I turned the simple act of property ownership into a nightmarish legal labyrinth. Sophia's confident demeanor began to crack. I could see it in her eyes during rare family interactions. The house she thought she had won was becoming a prison of legal complications. My parents tried to reach out, to negotiate. But negotiation was no longer an option. They had made their choice years ago when they chose manipulation over family loyalty. The most devastating weapon was hope. The gradual realization that everything they had worked for was slowly, methodically crumbling. And I was just getting started. The hunter had become the most patient of predators. The family gathering was meticulously planned. Not by my family, but by me. I chose my grandmother's favorite restaurant, a historic venue in downtown San Antonio that held generations of Rodriguez family memories. The irony was not lost on me. We would destroy what remained of our family in the same place, where our strongest memories were created. Sophia arrived first, her designer suit a shield against vulnerability. My parents followed, looking older, more fragile than I remembered. The maitre d' seated us at the same table where Grandmother Rosa used to host our most important family discussions. "I'm glad you all could come," I began, my voice calm and controlled. The waiter approached, but I waved him away. This wasn't a meal. This was an execution. I pulled out a thick manila envelope, placing it precisely in the center of the white linen tablecloth. "I've prepared something for each of you," I said. Sophia's hand trembled almost imperceptibly. My father's jaw clenched. My mother looked everywhere but at me. "Let's start with you, Sophia," I said, sliding a series of documents toward her. Your recent real estate transactions have some interesting discrepancies. I detailed each violation, each ethical breach. Her commercial real estate firm's reputation was already in tatters. These documents would ensure complete professional destruction. To my father, I presented a comprehensive report documenting years of financial mismanagement in his construction company, municipal contracts, tax irregularities, potential fraud. Each page was a nail in his professional coffin. My mother received her own package: medical billing irregularities, insurance claim inconsistencies that would trigger comprehensive investigations. "You thought you could steal my inheritance," I said quietly. "You thought a backdated power of attorney would erase my connection to grandmother's house. But you forgot one thing. I was my grandmother's true heir, not just in property, but in spirit." The documents told a story of systematic betrayal. Each revelation was a calculated blow, stripping away their carefully constructed facades. I wasn't just exposing their mistakes, I was dismantling their entire existence. "The house was never just about property," I continued. "It was about legacy, about respect, about family." Sophia tried to interrupt, but I raised my hand. The gesture was so reminiscent of Grandmother Rosa that she fell silent. "You'll lose everything," I said. "Your careers, your reputation, your social standing. Everything you've built will crumble." Tears began to fall. Not from me, from them. My mother's mascara ran, creating dark trails down her cheeks. My father's hands shook uncontrollably. Sophia's perfectly composed exterior began to crack. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no joy. Just a cold, precise sense of justice. "I am my grandmother's granddaughter," I whispered. "And you forgot what that means." The restaurant around us continued its quiet hum, oblivious to the family being dismantled at this single table. My revenge was complete. But at what cost? Weeks after the restaurant confrontation, the silence was deafening. My sister's real estate firm collapsed. The investigations I triggered revealed systemic ethical violations that destroyed her professional reputation. She went from being a rising star to a pariah in the industry, her career in complete ruins. My father's construction company faced multiple legal challenges. Municipal contracts were canceled. Pending investigations stripped away everything he had built over decades. The business he had nurtured for years disintegrated like ash. My mother's medical billing practices came under intense scrutiny. Her reputation in the healthcare administration world, carefully cultivated over years, crumbled overnight. I should have felt triumphant. But victory tasted like ash. The house, Grandmother Rosa's house, sat empty. A legal limbo of injunctions and counterclaims. No one could touch it, least of all the family that had tried to steal it from me. Nights became long, introspective journeys. I'd sit in my apartment, surrounded by the professional accolades I'd worked so hard to achieve, feeling completely hollow. Revenge had consumed me, transformed me into something I barely recognized. My grandmother would have been disappointed. She always spoke about family being stronger than any individual conflict. I had dismantled everything in the name of justice, but at what cost? Friends began to distance themselves. The legal community whispered about my calculated destruction of my own family. Professional respect mixed with a quiet fear of what I was capable of doing. I realized then that revenge is a form of captivity. By destroying them, I had also destroyed a part of myself. The lines between justice and vengeance had blurred beyond recognition. Some nights I would drive past the house. My house. It stood silent, a monument to a family torn apart by betrayal and retribution. The historic walls that once held generations of love now seemed to whisper of my own profound loss. I had won. Completely and utterly won. But winning felt remarkably like losing. Grandmother Rosa's words echoed in my mind. Family is all we truly have in this world. I had proven her wrong, and in doing so, I had lost everything that truly mattered. The house remained, a silent witness to a family's destruction. My ultimate victory was also my most profound defeat.